Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing the Ultimatum Queer Love. Don't know how many episodes we're going to be doing, but we'll go about it as we go, based on how long it takes me. So yes, we are not going to be doing any hot goss as we would on normal episodes. We're not going to be doing any announcements. But again, just as a quick reminder, if you want any information on the Patreon, you can head down to the show notes where you can get access to the link in order to join. But that's all I'm going to say. Let's head into the reason we're here, and that is Ultimatum Queer Love. So episode 5. So we start the episode with Mel and Dana making out on the couch. And then we very clearly can see them moving from couch to bedroom. And what to me sounds like hotivities happening in the bedroom. Pretty evident. Like, yeah. I mean, to me, it makes me think that they had sex. That's what I think. So that's how we start off the episode. So let's go into the couples, Pilar and Kyle. So not a lot for them this time around, but we see them talking about kind of what happened. And this would have had to been about the kissing that happened during the, when they're at the club and all that. Pilar basically felt like her character was being attacked, which I could definitely understand that. I think Kyle, definitely her choice of words were just not good. She's like, I have only been with one person and I'm not playing games. That's the thing. Like her and Haley have been together for 10 years. They're 29. So like that's a really long time. And I think they were friends for a long time prior to that. So they've known each other for pretty much each other's like whole life. And yeah, like it's just, I think Kyle was wrong in what she was saying to her. Kyle basically apologizes for, what she said. They're basically deciding they're going to start over, try to be a little bit more vulnerable, and kind of see how things, I guess, go from there. Okay, so Haley and Megan. So Haley is meeting Megan's people. Not much else to really say here. It goes fine. Then it looks like there's some form of intimacy that kind of happens. So I was a little bit like on, like, did they or didn't they? Like something happened. They're saying intimacy happened, but of course we know intimacy means many a thing. So I'm just like, what exactly happened? No, they had sex. They literally say they had sex. And they have absolutely no regrets for doing that. So let's just put it out there here. Okay, so we're up to par with what's happened here in terms of hotivities. We have Megan and Haley have done the deed, and potentially Mel and Dana have also done the deed. That's what's kind of happening here. Okay, so that's basically that. Marie and AJ. So Marie is really struggling in this process, struggling with, how things may or may not turn out for her and Mel. But with everything going on, she tells AJ that I'm resentful that you got to have a conversation with Brittany. But Mel, when she sees me, won't even look at me. Now, that's not AJ's fault that Mel is being kind of inconsiderate. It's not on AJ. It is on AJ that she went to go see Brittany when you're supposed to be focused on your trial of marriage. But I can definitely understand Marie kind of feeling, kind of getting, like she's getting the shitty end of the stick. But we'll kind of get to Mel and Dana in a second with that. AJ says, I put Brittany aside to focus on you. I need you to try to do the same. Because as far as we know, though, I think we're going to get more information because I've completely finished the season. They're going to get a little bit more information on AJ and Brittany. But I do understand here what she's saying here is like, I've let that go. I need you to then now also let Mel go too, so you can focus on this because we're not going to get what we need out of this if you're hyper focused on the fact that Mel won't even say hi to you. So then Marie opens up to AJ and basically says, like, I didn't speak to my mom for a long time. And then she died. Yikes. She said, no one looks at me and thinks victim of suicide. So, should have done the trigger warning initially, but we're going to assume here, based on what she just said, her mom committed suicide. She said, I only talk about my dad because that's the parent she has alive. And people wonder why that I don't talk about my mom. Well, I mean, not her words, mine. How easy can it be to discuss a parent that's no longer here? And when they have gone in the way that they have, it's maybe a little difficult to talk about that. She's like, she kind of says, like, hypothetically, do you really want to know? Do you really want to know? I'm a very, very angry person. Trust me, she is. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but we definitely see in the reunion, she is an angry person. And do I blame her? No. I think if I was dealt the hand that she was dealt, yeah, I'd be angry too. Um, she says, I'm an angry person. I am angry at the world. And again, don't blame her. Okay, so that's it for them. Brittany and Marita. So they talk about Marita always being happy. And she says, like, because she comes across that way, she says, I was the youngest of my family, and there was always turmoil. I felt like I had to be the one to get along with everyone. Because if they weren't getting along with each other, they could at least get along with me. And Brittany says, I'm not saying don't be a people pleaser. I am. Don't be a people pleaser. Never be a people pleaser. Come from a person who I think I've come to realize that I am a people pleaser. Certain people, not all people, but I am. And don't be a people pleaser because at the end of the day, you're not happy when you are a people pleaser because you're more concerned about how everyone else feels and you're not concerned about how you feel. But she says, you got to put yourself first. That's basically that. Mel and Dana, now buckle up, y'all, we got a lot. They start arguing about Mel not wanting the same things as Dana. I guess, like, Dana wants a family in the future, whatever, marriage, because I think Dana's the one that issued the ultimatum. Whereas Mel isn't there. Mel doesn't want to necessarily get married. Mel doesn't want to have children. Um, Mel explains, I was weird about kids when I was younger. And when I got diagnosed with everything, I was told that I can't have kids. We'll get a little more details in the reunion of what she does have, or one of the things anyway she has. One or both of us are going to die if I were to get pregnant. And I'm just like, oh God. So she said, I figured I didn't really want it anyways. So I'm not going to, like, I guess, harp on trying to have it happen for me. Um, Dana is like, have you told Marie this? And Mel says, no, no one knows. Now, here's the thing that speaks volumes to me. Not so much that Mel is telling Dana. I mean, that speaks volumes too. But what really speaks volumes to me is that someone you've been with for 4 years, you have, I think they live together, they have a business together, they're with each other all the time. They have literally put roots into each other. But the one thing that Mel has not told the person she's with, um, when she's made it pretty clear she wants to have a family with you. You're not telling her this. This could help Marie understand where you're coming from. And either you have to compromise on that, both of you, or that can at least inform Marie on whether or not you can fulfill what she needs in life and have to be honest about that. So that's really interesting to me that Mel, either she feels uncomfortable to talk about this with Marie, or she's just so so into her, like, not into herself in that sense, but so, I don't know the right term to use, but so closed off, there we go, that she can't discuss this with anyone. I just found that very telling. So, Mel is meeting Dana's family. Her family is like, I feel like Dana became a happier person with Megan. God damn it, but Megan's not here. Here's Mel, and you could tell on Mel's face, she's like, "I don't wanna hear this." Like, I'm here, not Megan. So I don't wanna hear about this. Like, so then Dana, in a time of weakness, decides to call Megan, I guess after being with her family, hearing everything her family had to say, because I was like, "I love Megan." I guess it kinda gave her this need to call Megan. And it doesn't go good because she basically tells Mel, "She told me to fuck off. She also said, if you keep calling me, I will block you." And, um, Dana basically says, like, she has never talked to me like that. Now, as a person who's been with this person for so long, I would also be like, "Whoa, what's going on here? Who's getting into your head? Like, why are you talking to me like this?" That would make me be like, "Whoa," for sure. Um, and I think Megan could have given some context to that because we will find out there is context, but Megan doesn't tell her that at the time. She just goes off on her, which is that's not what you should do. You should not talk to anybody like that. Doesn't matter how angry you are at them. I mean, it could be justified, but I think based on what we are going to hear very soon, it's maybe not fully justified. So it's just yike. But I can also understand the frustration on Megan's part because to have to have to see your ex with their trial marriage at a pool, both you and Marie see your person, and neither of them look in your direction. That is a frustration. So I thought initially that that was what it was coming from, but it still is such a over exaggeration that I'm like, "Is that wrong?" So it's we are gonna get answers, in just a little bit. Alright, let's move on to Bridget and Ashley. So, not a lot, y'all, not a lot here, it's very quick. They're just doing pottery together, and then it turns into a Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore moment of "Another time, uh, so slowly." Okay. 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 I'm not gonna sing anymore. Literally, it turns into Ghost. It was, that's about it. Anyways, now we have the night out. We have nights out. So this is everybody. We'll probably have more couples at the end here, I believe, but this is, the nights out. We're gonna start with the quote unquote receivers. So we have that's again as a reminder, the receivers Megan, Mel, AJ, Marita, Pilar, and Bridget. Um, so AJ says, well, Marie struggled with getting over Mel. Well, I mean, you're not getting over the person you came here with, but I see what you're saying. She's like, we see you at the pool and you just straight up ignore her. Yeah, I would be pissed. Listen, I would have dived into that damn pool if they were in the pool. I don't know. But I would have dived into the goddamn pool and say, "Excuse me, bitch. You can't ignore me." I'm not saying bitch because they're women. That would be also to a man too. But I'm just like, that would be, I'd be pissed. Um, and AJ says, like, I wouldn't do that. No one would. No one would do that. No one in their right mind, which is, it's funny because it's like, we know like intimacy was forming, but it's, it's messed up. You don't do that. And then Megan is like, it was hard to see her ignore me because that's again, right? We have both these people going through this. It was hard to see her ignore me. And Mel is like, have you been there for her? Whoa, what? Just out of the blue, have you been there for her? And I'm like, wait, well, hold on. Mel is Mel is the kind of everything that kind of happens here when it comes to Dana and Mel is so on Mel's part. Like, I think Dana's pretty level-headed, surprisingly, but Mel is very, like, um, what's the word? I'm struggling with words today. Um, Possessive in a sense. It's so weird. Um, and yeah, she's like, "Whatever." Um, and Megan's like, "Yeah, like, I have been there for her." And Mel's like, "Okay, but I would be there for my partner no matter what. Would you? Because we have just explained that you, ma'am, ignored the person you came here with. You ignored her when at the pool. You didn't even acknowledge. It's like she didn't exist, but you'd always be there for her. That makes no fucking sense." So, um, and she goes on to say, "I wouldn't tell her, don't call me." Okay. Okay. But Megan was mad. I think everyone can attest if you're pissed, the last thing I want to do is hear your voice, right? Um, she goes on to say, "You want to talk privately because like I want to talk to you." Okay, cool. So Megan and Mel have that talk. And I don't know if I really wrote down exactly everything that happened here, but to me, Mel is being holier than thou, talking about the fact that like, you know, whatever, just being holier than thou. And saying me saying, when both of you have had sex with your trial people, Megan has sex with Haley, Mel has had sex with Dana, you're being holier than thou. Like, you've made no mistakes in this, but whether you see it as a mistake or not, you have done it. And this is why the queer love version is so much better than the straight version. Um, so that's basically what kind of happens with the receivers. Okay, now we have the givers. And again, as a reminder, the givers are Ashley, Marie, Dana, Brittany, Haley, and Kyle. Dana is basically rubbing Haley the wrong way, at least to me, that's what it looked like. They don't like each other. They do not like each other. Like, when Dana was speaking, the way that Haley was looking at her, it's like, whoa. Um, Dana opens up about her reaching out to Megan and obviously how that went. And of course, she's saying this because her thought process is, oh, Haley's getting into her head. And that's why she's saying this. And Haley says, I wasn't present for that conversation. Dana doesn't believe that, by the way. But Haley says she wasn't present for that conversation. Um, but Dana basically says, like, I don't recognize her. But is it possible? Like, yes, maybe it was an extreme, sure. But is it possible that Dana doesn't know who this person is because Megan is finally coming into her own? You came here because you want some change, but then don't get upset when you see the change and the change is not maybe in your favor, potentially. You know what I mean? I don't think it's crazy that maybe you don't recognize her. And then Dana's like gaslighting Marie to be like, oh yeah, like nothing's happening. She's being perfectly fine. Nothing's going on. Bitch, y'all were just swapping gravy at the beginning of the episode. Don't sit here and tell me that. I feel like I'm watching a Hunt for Love. I feel like I'm watching Hunt for Love, that I'm going crazy that, these two people did not have sex. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, there's like a raccoon coming into your room and we all see it. You know what I mean? I mean, we saw way less than last season where it's like, whoa. Whoa. Um, where we didn't see that. We just heard things. But it's, to me, I mean, those things you're hearing, it's like, okay. You know what I mean? Don't gaslight me. Haley and Marie sit and talk. And okay, this is messy. Mainly because of how we know this is going to turn out. But because this is messy. Initially, I'm like, oh, receipts. Give me the receipts. There are no receipts. There are no receipts. This is messy. But Haley basically says, I don't trust Dana and Mel. Okay, fine. I wouldn't trust Dana and Mel either because, yeah, things are going on. I get it. But she says, I think they are more romantically involved. Play the tape. Show those receipts because we got those. But she's like, I have receipts. Sorry, and now I said receipts, and I want to say that again. I have receipts to prove that they are more romantically involved. And we're like, oh, what? How, though? And that's the thing that is said later by Dana and Mel. It's like, what receipts? How do you have them? It's not like you're in here with us knowing what's going on. So how do you have any receipts? Show them receipts. Okay. AJ and Marie. Now we're done with that. AJ and Marie is the only people we have left before we go into the next episode. So Marie tells AJ, Haley has proof that Dana and Mel are fucking. And she says the fact that Mel is playing house, like, fuck that. Yeah. And then Dana is sitting beside me. Am I stupid? Do I have stupid tattooed on my forehead? No, girl, you don't. No, girl, you don't. You unfortunately have people around you who are trying to play the fucking field and are lying to your face while doing so. That's not right. She's like, it's okay. I'm gonna get my answers tonight. I ain't going to sleep until I get my damn answers. Yes. She's like, I am ready to burn it down. And you know what? I think that you should let it burn. I think so. That's what I think. Anyways, that's it for episode 5. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will jump into episode 6. And I am back. So let's head into episode 6. So we start off this episode with the conversation. Which conversation was this? Sorry. I'm just trying to remember here. Okay. So this is to piggyback off of the last episode, this is following the conversation between AJ and Marie, where she's telling AJ that apparently Haley has all of these there's proof, these receipts about you having sex with Dana. And that she's going to find her, she's going to burn the place down till she does. So I guess she was able to get in contact with Mel, and they're meeting in, like, their car. And Marie basically says, so I'm getting all of this shit from Dana, that all you do is talk about, talk about the ex. I don't know kind of what I meant here, but that's fine. She says, okay, here we go. I'm hearing from Dana that all you do is talk about me, or you're talking about Megan, that, you're doing all of this in order to get, make things better with your relationships that you came in here with. Yet, I talked to Haley, and she's telling me that you guys are most likely having sex with each other and that there's proof. So Mel, in her mind, is like, there can't be proof. Like, this is impossible. So she denies, and says, we've only kissed. Well, that's bullshit. And again, it's like, listen, although we can't see anything, and of course you can use some sort of deniability, being like, okay, we did something, but we didn't have sex. Sure. But chances are you most likely did, or did something very close to, something that maybe your partner coming into this is not going to really appreciate. So, you're being recorded. There are cameras everywhere, and it's going to pick up audio. Why bother? Because we're all going to figure this out. What, are you going to buy yourself a few months because it's a space of a year between filming and the reunion? Like that, so what? Because then you'll have to explain yourself at the reunion when things maybe are good between you and Marie. So, Marie says, I will back you. I'll have your back on this, but don't make me look like an idiot. And the thing is, like, I'm watching this and I'm like, well, she's making you look like an idiot. And that's no fault of her own. But that's exactly what Mel is doing. Horrible. All right. So that's how we start the episode. So let's get into the couples. So Haley and Megan are first. They're kind of rehashing the Hodana and Mel situation. And I think this is kind of when we're starting, we will have an understanding as to what quote unquote these receipts are. But Haley is like, it feels like they are supporting each other because they did wrong 1,000%. I don't even know if it's so much that they're supporting each other. I mean, I think, yes, that's part of it, but I think they have this mutual understanding that we're going to lie to our partners to save our own ass. I don't even think that's really about each other. You know what I mean? So Megan is meeting Haley's family. Not much to really say there. Honestly, I don't care about the meeting of the families and stuff like that. But anyways, Haley tells Megan at this point, and I'm like, "Ew." She tells Megan that she loves her, like falling in love with her. And Megan says it right back to her. But my question is, what does that mean exactly? What does I love you mean to you? Because again, this has only been a couple of weeks, maybe. What, like, this is a lot, and I know it can be this way. Um, you can fall hard and fast, especially if there's sex involved. But what exactly does this mean to me? Um, s like, I don't know, because this is gonna get very messy with the "I love you" being thrown out there between these 2. It's gonna get very messy very quickly, and it's just I don't know. But that's it for them in episode 6. Let's move on to Dana and Mel. So Mel, I guess after coming back from talking to Marie, tells Dana about what Haley's said to Marie and all of that. Um, Dana's like, how would she know anything? How are their receipts? And the thing for me that's actually really hilarious with Dana in this moment is she is kind of like calling her a bitch, that she's being slimy and all of this. And it's like, ma'am, okay, can we take it all the way down? You can't call people slimy or a bitch or you're lying or whatever. How do you, when we know you did something? It's the leaps and bounds a narcissist can go through. It's amazing because it's like, don't sit here and try to, well, pretend to honestly gaslight yourself and us, the viewer, by calling this woman a bitch because okay, do I think Haley has receipts? At this point, I'm like, what would she know and what would she have that's like concrete proof when these 2 are, in a sense, kind of denying anything happened? Um, so what proof would you have? At this point in time, I was like, I don't think she has anything. We find out what her quote unquote idea of receipts are. It's not. But that's besides the point. Whether you think she has something or she doesn't, you did it. Wow. And of course, she also thinks that Haley's the reason that Megan's being so horrible to her too. So there's that part. Mel wants these answers about where do we go from here when this isn't, but when this is over, or like the trial marriages or whatever do switch up and all that. Like, what's gonna happen? And again, for me, I'm like, this is what's so interesting about the queer version of the show versus the straight version of the show. It's like with the straight people, you never hear people really talk about this of what's to come. What's to come is yes, you are to figure out, eh, whether or not you want to stick with the person you came here with or if you want to leave alone. I think that's the first answer or the first question you need to be asking yourself is, do I want to be with this person that I came here with, or do I want to end the relationship? And then you can then talk about, well, do I want to have this thing with this other person? I think to have these big conversations about what's next for us, if we were to go, it's, it's in a way, it's number one, future faking. It's painting this rosy picture of what can happen with us at the end of this. And you still haven't gone through the other trial marriage yet. You don't know what's going to come from the other trial marriage yet. It's it's player behavior. It's player behavior. But again, the player behavior doesn't just come from Mel in the situation, it also comes from Dana. So it's ridiculous to me, really. I wrote here that I think that Mel is being a little cuckoo right now by insisting on having this conversation right now. It's a disservice to Marie. It's a disservice to Megan. It's a disservice to have this conversation right now. So then to take it just a little step further, because it's not bad enough to have this conversation or try to attempt to have this conversation about what's to come. We're going to go get matching tattoos. But wait, it's even worse than just getting matching tattoos. First of all, if I were to be in this scenario, which would never happen, but if I were to be in this scenario and I took me and my partner onto the ultimatum, if I were to find out that my man got matching tattoos with the person he's having a trial marriage with, I would lose my ever loving mind. Because why? Why do you feel it's necessary to connect yourself in this way? First of all, I have a huge issue with matching tattoos to begin with. I think it's stupid. I think if you're going to get tattoos, I think having tattoos are significant that can be solidified as being permanent. So kids, parents, or stuff like that. Dogs, if you want to go that way. Getting matching tattoos for a relationship that may or may not survive. And I'm sorry to be morbid in that sense or like dark in that way, but again, I'm divorced, so I come from a different place. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's childish and honest, to be honest with you. So I already have an issue with matching tattoos. But then you add the fact that these are two people who've only known each other for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're gonna go and get freaking matching tattoos? Are you dumb? But wait, like I said, there's more. Dana admits, now this is a bitch move. No, because I don't know whose idea this was. Because this is the thing. I want to know, and we never know, but I want to know whose idea it is to go and get these matching tattoos. Was it Dana's idea? Because that makes it worse for what I'm about to say. But whoever idea this was, I'll talk about the scenarios in a second. Dana says to us, oh, this is not going to go over well with Megan because me and Megan talked about getting matching tattoos. And the part that's not mentioned here, but it's mentioned later, I can't remember when, is that they actually had discussed getting matching tattoos together at the end of this experience if they were able to make it out of it. That is diabolical on Dana's part. And Dana ends actually saying this off, but who cares? I guess we're going to go and get these matching tattoos. So she doesn't care. So this is what I mean. I feel like either way is bad, but the level of bad I need to know. Was this Dana's idea? Knowing that you had a conversation with your partner to have matching tattoos at the end of this experience. Or was it Mel's idea to do these matching tattoos? And Dana could have been like, in my mind, if someone comes to me and says, go and let's go get matching tattoos, I would be like, sure, that sounds like a cool idea. However, I don't think my partner is going to really like appreciate if I were to do that. You know what I mean? So it's incredible that she not incredible, but incredible that she actually goes through with doing these matching tattoos. I mean, this is ridiculous. I've talked too much about matching tattoos, but I cannot believe they did it. Um, yeah. So Dana writes this very heartfelt letter to Mel. If it feels like to me, honestly, watching this, I figured no matter how the trial marriages go with the partners they came in here with, they were gonna leave together. That's how it felt by like how they're acting. They actually write one to each other, but yeah, it's anyways. That's it for Dana and Mel. Let's move on to Pilar and Kyle. Again, a lot here to talk about. I'm not gonna go through it, but we do meet Kyle's parents. Um, her mom, well, both her parents seem great, and accepting, of everything, which is how it should be anyways. Um, but yeah, I don't have much else to really say here. I have nothing else to say here. Let's move on. AJ and Marie. So Marie is choosing to believe Mel, as we know about, from the beginning of the episode. And Dana did not further their relationship. So she's believing they did not take it to the next quote unquote level. Um, and I guess she says that the reason she does is because of the people they came here with, which I don't understand. So is she saying because of the people they came here with, and they know the people they came here with, that that's the reason that they wouldn't further the relationship? Because I don't understand what that has to do with the price of tea in China. Everyone knows the person they're in a relationship with. Doesn't stop them from cheating. You know what I mean? I don't know. But the side eyeing that AJ is giving Marie in this moment is like, oh, girl, don't, no. Sweet pad, no. Like, this is, no. Anyway, that's that. Brittany and Marita, again, not much to talk about. The only reason I brought this up, well, honestly, the reason I brought it up initially, I didn't think that this would actually be a plot point moving forward. But the reason I brought this up is as a Jamaican girly, I'm like, yes, honey. She's making oxtail. Brittany is. It's making oxtail for Marita. Um, I think Marita has never had oxtail before, which, come on now. I know white people or any person who is, I feel like colored people are a little bit more, doesn't matter if you're Jamaican or not, are a little more comfortable eating oxtail. Um, uh, White people maybe is not as exposed to, but I know white people will go and eat like Caribbean food, if you want to say Caribbean food or Jamaican food, um, whether or not they are exposed to that, whether it's a partner or friends or whatever. How in the hell? Girl, honey, you're missing out because there ain't nothing like oxtail cooked in the oven with all the things you need. Whether you want to put some pimento seeds in there, whether you want to put some other seeds that sometimes are put in there. My mom doesn't cook with it, but if you go to like a Jamaican restaurant, you can get like these not pinto, but anyways, you have a season there, and but the best part is the oxtail gravy. The oxtail gravy, anyone who had oxtail, anyone who is Jamaican especially, or eats Jamaican food, you know that the fight one has to have to ensure they get some oxtail gravy. And you can't be skimpy. You gotta make sure you're giving me enough of the oxtail gravy because me and you're gonna have a fight. I don't want my white rice or rice and peas, the color of it to be showing. I want it to be brown, matching the color of the oxtail gravy. Anyways, let me move on. I had oxtail last night. Anyways, yeah, so Marita has never had oxtail before. So I wrote this down as a Jamaican girl being like, okay, I see. she's making them Jamaican food for her. Okay, cool. Um, so I that was more of the reason why I wrote it down. Again, did not realize this was gonna be a plot point moving forward. Alright, so that's basically that. Let's move on now to we're at the changeover. Here we are, y'all. So we kind of we're gonna try and keep a couple got by couple pretty much. That's how I kind of have it, but it could, intertwine. So let's go through it. So, um, Brittany and Marita went good. Um, and Marita's like, I mean, she made me oxtail. And you're like, oh, sweet. She's cooking for her AJ. It's like, wait, hold on. Excuse me? She made you what? I would be upset too. If I was AJ and I hear that my woman just made oxtail for someone else, I'd be so mad. And she's like, there were boundaries. Ma'am, you crossed it. It is so funny. AJ has jokes in this moment because it's like we're dealing with harder situations here with like Dana and Mel and Megan and Haley really crossing boundaries and having sex with each other. But the only issue that AJ has to worry about with Brittany is that she made Marita oxtail. This is fucking incredible. Um, it gets a little heated though when Bridget says that you both need to hold each other accountable. So I guess you're talking about Brittany and AJ in your relationship because Marita is like she's prejudging me. Um oh, okay. I think this not sorry, not AJ and Brittany. It was Marita and Ashley. So that's what Bridget's kind of talking about her perspective of Ashley. Um, that everything kind of went fine. We haven't actually talked about Bridget and Ashley because there's been nothing to talk about. Um, very rarely we've talked about Ashley and Brittany, so I completely forgot that they were even here. Um, sorry, but um, because she's saying like their trial marriage went pretty decently, and yes, sure, Ashley has things that she needs to work on, but Marita also needs to understand that she's not perfect in any of this either. It goes both ways. Um, but in true fashion of what we kind of saw with Marita with how things went down with AJ during the choice, Marita gets her back up very quickly and she's like like she's prejudging me, like she doesn't know our relationship. Okay, she may not know your relationship being like she's being a person involved in the relationship. But I'm sure she's had conversations with Ashley. Sure, Ashley have conversations with Bridget, and I'm sure that they've had like conversations about things in the relationship. And I think Bridget ends up saying to her, "Okay, but that's everyone here. Everyone here doesn't know each other's original relationships. So like, calm down, basically." So then we move on to Pilar and Kyle. And Pilar makes it kind of about these stories that Haley has posted, like on Instagram, I'm assuming, that she is falling in love with someone else. Yikes. Okay, again, you're in a trial marriage for 3 weeks with a person. Um, again, I don't know. I don't know if it's because you're spending an accelerated amount of time with this person along with the physical aspects of things that you can fall so easily in love with somebody. But I mean, hell, I've had sex with people and been like, I'm not falling in love with you. Like, no. Um, so I don't know if like it's just the process itself. So I never understand how someone can fall in love so quickly. But that's besides the point. You can't seriously think it is a good idea to post on a social media platform for whom your original person is most likely connected to you is going to see those things and think, what? Oh, but then it gets worse. Haley's like, Oh, you wanna talk about stories? Like, what about your story of a pic of Kyle with hard eye emojis, and then you blocked me? Okay, that's the end of the episode, so let me go through this. Okay, the difference is that I don't think Pilar is falling in love with Kyle. I don't think there is room in that relationship for her to fall in love with Kyle, because I don't think Kyle would really let it get to that point. Um, so that right there. And again, putting heart eye emojis next to a person's picture isn't falling in love. And maybe Pilar is blocking Haley, not because of what she's posting herself, but because of what Haley is posting. And you need to protect your sanity by making sure you're not seeing these goddamn posts. So you're going to block the person so that you can maintain your mental health. Did that ever cross Haley's mind? Because it sure to hell just crossed mine. Initially, I'm like, "Ooh, that's not good." But then I thought about it, talking this through, I guess, where I'm like, "Wait a minute. Maybe she's trying to self-preserve. It has nothing to do with her trying to hide something from Haley." And again, you seriously can't sit here and be like, "Oh, but you did this, and you did this, and you did this." When you are falling in love with Megan, we heard you say it to her. Um, so Pilar is justified in thinking something's afoot, but let's push it onto what you're doing. Why do we do that as a human race? I don't know why we do that. Anyway, that's basically it. That's it for that episode. That is it for this episode. So we are gonna just continue with Ultimatum until I get other notes down for other shows. So we'll just continue with Ultimatum again. Like I said, that is finished. I did finish that, so we'll just be finishing that up. But yeah, guys, that is it. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, dot podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.